What's good, fam? Good to have y'all back live. Had a little fun. That was a dope song. I love that song. Feel good. Sinkhole. NCS. If you know, you know. It's like one of the classic bangers that NCS has. What's good, fam? Back at it again with another live tonight. R.I.P. to the legend Toby Keith. Should have been a cowboy. That's where wearing the cowboy hat in honor of him tonight. But let's see. Update wise, I put in an order for the thing that's going to be back there up on the wall. There's some customization that kind of is going into it, so that person hasn't unfortunately reached out to me yet, which I think is kind of strange, but we'll see. So we'll go ahead and take it from there. But the next, like I said, by the end of the month, should hopefully be here. All right, let's go ahead and hop into it since I don't think I have any other updates so far. Nothing too crazy has happened. Just been grinding away, grinding a lot more. You've probably been noticing a lot more content out, trying to focus a lot more on that content. And yeah. Oh, I hit up a hockey game on Saturday. That was pretty fun. So it's the minor league for the Dallas Stars. They unfortunately lost, but we had a good time, and it was packed. It was crazy because I've only been to one other minor league hockey game, and it was in Utah for the Utah Grizzlies, and there was literally like no one there. It's probably like 100 people in a whole kind of obviously smaller arena, probably seats like 5 to 6 thousand people, but only like 100 people actually went. So just got super cheap seats, and then went right next town to the ice. Like I said, the arena is pretty small anyway, but this one we went to was packed, like literally sold out and everything, and it's crazy. It was super fun. So highly recommend if you've never been to a Texas Stars game and you're in the Austin area. All right, let me check something real quick. All right, let's go ahead and hop into it. All right, we got tonight the apex of male human existence, and arguably this could be like just like all of human existence, according to Michael Sartain. So basically, where I got this from, what does it mean to what does the apex of male human existence mean? It's like the peak, like ultimate fulfillment in life. Whether or not there's like studies backing this up, I don't really think there is because it's so incredibly hard to determine kind of like what fulfills people in life, what gives people the biggest, the most amount of happiness per se. And then you can go off of like, all right, does that mean just like physiologically, like how our body responds to said situation and quoting said happiness equals dopamine or how our body is stimulated or whatever. There's lots of nuances, ins and outs, and you can really get stuck in the weeds with a lot of that stuff. So, based off of just kind of fulfillment and I'd say anecdotal evidence, not necessarily my own life only per se, but you just look at history, these two things, and I'm quoting Michael Sartain and basing off of his idea and what he said first, but he broke it down into two simple steps. And there's no necessarily order in these steps. I'd probably say my if I had to put an order to it, I'd probably put it in the order that I'm about to say it right now. But he says the apex of male human existence contains two items. First item, assembling a group of people together to solve a problem. And then the second is to have a family. Clip that. And we're going to go into each one of them separately. So let's go ahead and go into the first one. So assemble a group of people. I kind of put it into kind of male context just because this is a male self-improvement channel, helping you guys get stronger, smarter, healthier, and wealthier, like I always say. So assemble a group of men. Now, obviously, this isn't really exclusive or inclusive or exclusive of just doing stuff with guys. Obviously, in a normal work environment, you're gonna want to get the best of the best people to do stuff, and that could be a woman. So, but generally speaking, like I said, generally speaking, it depends on the task you're about to do. If you're about to go fight a war per se, and there's lots of historical evidences of exactly this: a group of people assembling together, typically a group of men assembling, teaming up together in order to solve a problem. Think of it as kind of the most prehistoric, earliest version you can think of like the human experience. What was, you think of like these cavemen type people, these humans that they were in tribes together, or even before they were in tribes together, they needed to hunt food. Now, obviously, they could do hunt, be hunters or gatherers and gather fruit and stuff. But in order to get meat to feed their offspring and the people around them, they had to go out in groups because not, for example, they would hunt larger beasts, whether that be deer or mammoths back in the day or whatever animals existed back then. A lot of those animals were very large animals, and it was very difficult, if not near impossible, to hunt solo or by yourself. Now you obviously could, but your likelihood and the chances of you actually surviving that encounter with that animal, just because it's so big, goes down dramatically the less people you have. So the more people you have, your likelihood of survival and your likelihood of actually killing that animal. Plus, if you were going after a larger animal by yourself, they didn't have things such as refrigerators or freezers back then. So it's kind of like you would eat the meat that you could eat before it would go rotten, which is probably after a day or so. So they would go out in these groups. The men would go out and hunt these large beasts, these mammoths, these large mammals, and they would bring back food to their tribes and to their families. So this is kind of like the earliest version of this assembling a team and solving a problem or accomplishing a goal that you could find in human history. And then as you go out throughout the ages, you go through, there's been many wars fought throughout the thousands of years of human existence. Every single war that's been fought has been a group of men. And like I say, I say men because this is historically what it was. Obviously, there may have been some women here and there, but even look at the militaries today. Like the main fighting forces that are actually going into combat, they're men, they're not women. So these groups of men gathering together, working as a team in order to accomplish a goal. And obviously, the goals of the wars are very different depending on which war it was. But typically, it's defend your homeland, or we're going to invade this person because of XYZ reasons. Now, there are multiple reasons behind why these wars or this group of men is assembling to conquer the goal. That's not necessarily the purpose of what I'm going to be focusing on tonight. It's more of the actual act of them getting together, strategically trying to accomplish something, which really brings so much fulfillment in a guy's life. You think of, I had the example of the prehistoric, like hunting and gathering just to survive, just to have food. Now you kind of throw in conquest and for battle over resources, battle over scarce resources, battle over land, battle over wrongdoings. There's a plethora of reasons behind that. And so that's just kind of one context as well, wars. But then you think of kind of modern society, you can picture companies being built. Every single company, every single one of the Fortune 500 companies at one point was just like a startup. They had a small team of people working together to accomplish a goal. For example, Microsoft. You had Bill Gates and all of his close people around him, Steve Ballmer, one of the first employees, that they gathered around together. All right, we're going to make this software. We're going to make this different operating system. And of course, they expanded their product portfolio and their service offerings. But essentially, that's how it started. So any major thing that happened in human existence happened because, number one, a group of people, usually men, came together and they went out to accomplish a goal and to solve a problem. And you can even think about this in entertainment as well. This is how far this goes into kind of the fulfillment and like I said, or like Michael said, I'm Michael as well, but I'm kind of repeating what he's saying, but the apex of male human existence. People yearn for that glory. People yearn for the accomplishment of something. And this is even exhibited next weekend, or this weekend, I'd say, is big event on Sunday. It's the Super Bowl. This is literally the exact same example. You have a team, two teams going at it. You have a team led by Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Andy Reid from Kansas City, the Chiefs, going against a team led by Kyle Shanahan and Christian McCaffrey and Debo Samuel and George Kittle and Brock Purdy, going against each other in order to win the Super Bowl, accomplish to beat the other team in order to win the Lombardi Trophy. That's literally what it is. A group of men, they're assembling together, they're working together to accomplish a goal, solve a problem. Let's score more points than this other team. We score as many points as possible in our defense, make sure the other team scores as little as possible. Simple as that. And people not only will watch this, but they will pay millions of dollars to watch this. That's the apex of male human existence. You think of some of the best moments for a lot of these athletes' lives. It's literally like this moment where they overcome adversity. They battled with their brothers down in the trenches of the field, and they got to the point. Clock ran zero. Time was out. They were on top. They're literally on top of the world. One of the, if not the most exhilarating experiences any person can feel and to live through. Now, this is the first point. Assemble a group of men. They work together to accomplish a goal, to solve a problem. And I'd say people might argue it's like, oh, it's the money, it's the lifestyle, it's the being the best you can, but all this is entailed in that. It's like, what makes you money? Yeah, people might become a lawyer or a doctor, or build a huge social following, or build a business. This is exactly this. This is the same thing. Well, think about when you're a doctor, you're not just a solo doctor, you have nurses, you have a team of people around you in order to heal people. When you're a lawyer, you're just not a solo lawyer battling against the lawyer. You typically have a team behind you, especially if it's a really big case. A lot of money in a lot of those big cases, they have a team of lawyers. It's not even just a single lawyer. So there's always some sort of support group or team surrounding the person, even if they might be the quote unquote lead person. And what does this lead to? This leads to them making money. This leads to them purchasing a lifestyle. This leads to them gaining status. So it's all revolved around getting a team of people together and solving a problem. Now, people may argue as well that, oh, there's people that do it by themselves that don't have any help. Sure, those are exceptions for sure. But eventually they live in a society, they have to work with people to get what they want, to make their money, to become successful. That's how they became successful. They eventually had to work with people. We live in a very social, human beings are very social beings, and we work together in order to accomplish goals and to get stuff done. Think about throughout history, throughout civilization, if people just kind of did their own thing and never trusted one another or never worked with one another, worked together, then nothing would get accomplished. Everyone would fend for themselves and we'd still be cavemen living in caves. If we didn't have women, we'd live in caves. If we didn't work with each other, we'd still live in caves. Clip that. All right. Now, there's a second part to this. That's the first part, okay? Now, a lot of people are be like, well, what about there's like a greater scheme of things, like especially people who are religious, and I'm religious myself. So it's like they're all right. That's definitely a great sense of fulfillment, but think about like coming closer to God, or or having a family, or that. This is where part number two comes in. Kind of envelops all the temporal stuff, and maybe it throws in more of the spiritual side as well, and kind of what human beings do throughout the ages, other than assembling people together and working together. Obviously, you have to populate the earth, right? So this number 2 point is having a family. And there's also this really good quote. I forget exactly what it is. So I think it's like a Jewish proverb or something, or I don't even know if like Jews like say have the word proverb about. It's about like what every man should do. All right, yeah, this is what it was. I forget who it's by, but every man should have a child, plant a tree, write a book. You can kind of entail kind of maybe the plant a tree and write a book. It's just because legacy, and that's kind of the point of number two is to leave a legacy behind. Now, obviously, you can leave a legacy behind by assembling and accomplishing great things, putting your dent in the universe, like my guy Rich Cooper always says. But you also leave a legacy by literally leaving something behind that's going to outlive you. So your I guess ex what am I trying to say? You don't have a physical legacy. You leave a intangible, let's just say, legacy with the things you accomplished. You may have actually built something, so that might be technically something physical. You may plant a tree, but say like write a book or create a new concept or develop a new concept of, say, like you helped create the internet or something like that. But then you leave something physical as well, as in like an actual human being, multiple human beings, in the point that if you start a family, just because that's what humans are ingrained to do. These basic two things: work together, accomplishing a goal, solving a problem, and then having a family second. This goes back to kind of like the evolutionary psychology and the biology of kind of us human beings, us Homo sapiens. So you look at also just not human beings, but just like pretty much any animal on planet Earth is their one of their main purposes is to kind of populate and to have offspring. And we will do whatever we can to the best of our ability in order to make sure that happens. Now, kind of going to the religious part of this, it's like God commanded Adam and Eve in the garden, commanded Adam, all right, tend to this garden, make sure everything's all well and done. And then also like populate the earth. Now, obviously, in the Garden of Eden, he couldn't actually do that. I'm not going to go into that. But he had this team of him and Eve. They meant to tend the garden and do all this stuff. But then they're also, their second kind of goal or commandment that God gave them was to populate the earth. And then also to not eat of the tree of knowledge of the good and evil. But in order to have a family and to repopulate the earth, they needed to eventually do that. That's why in our beliefs as Latter-day Saints is the fall, Adam eating the fruit, Adam and Eve eating the fruit wasn't necessarily a bad thing. It was just a step in God's plan. But even God says it himself, or like work, even says in the Bible as well, like work by the sweat of your brow that you may eat and then have a family. So like the family is the basic unit of society, of the economy, but it's also the basic unit of spirituality as well. And not, I'd say not only just to have a family, because you can have a family, you can have kids with lots of different, like as a guy, you can have kids with lots of different women, but it's like actually playing a part in raising them and instilling your values into them, make sure they have good values. So I think that's such a noble thing to do as a man. It's one of the peaks. Like I said, not only just like winning a Super Bowl or like creating this great company or business or idea or whatever, accomplishing a goal with a team that you assembled, but in my thumbnail I'll put like this thing of a dad. He's like teaching his little son baseball, and I think that's just the coolest thing. I'm not a baseball guy, but like basketball in my case, or something like that. I think that's just like peak male human existence right there. Crushing your goals, like making a huge dent in the universe, and then just like teaching your son at the same time. It's like peak. Like I said, it's apex male human existence, peak male human existence right there. So as simple as that. My phone is blowing up at the moment, but it's kind of a short live, to be honest, tonight. It's as simple as that. If you disagree with me, let me know. If you agree with me, let me know. I'm going to have more more of these kind of like mindset lives as well. I've done a lot on dating and stuff. And honestly, a lot of this translates to back and forth. So whether it be your business or like your dating relationships, or in your familial relationships or your coworkers or whatever, like improving your mindset and understanding this stuff and striving for this stuff, making sure you're kind of like laser focused in at the beginning, you know what your goals are and you know how to accomplish them, make a plan, execute that plan. It's gonna lead to just greater success overall. So if you can understand these two things, if anything you want to achieve in life, get a team together, assemble it, go ahead and conquer a goal, shoot for a goal, execute on it, on your plan, accomplish that goal, solve a problem, have a family. This is why I'm a big a lot of guys in the space that are just like, oh, don't get, and this is kind of a different topic for a different day, so I'm not going to get into the whole marriage thing, but just like, oh, like just do your own thing, like you don't really need kids and stuff. And like, I beg to differ. You want kids. Like we want kids. It's in our DNA to have offspring and then teach our offspring on top of that, so that way our legacy can live on beyond ourselves. That's the biggest thing. If you're going to get anything from this, is these two things. And also in the quote, it's like, have a child, plant a tree, write a book, what every man should do, is you need to leave a legacy behind. It's like the saddest thing in life when people are like, I don't have any kids. They just kind of live them lives for themselves and they don't have anything to leave behind that people will remember them, and they don't get remembered, which is the saddest thing. But if you do these two things, you'll definitely get remembered. You should strive for that. That's what I'm striving for. So I'll leave it at that. You know what it is. As with everything, trying to help you guys get stronger, smarter, healthier, wealthier. So go ahead, fall for more lives, tips, stay pumped. Should have been a cowboy. RIP to the cowboy, Toby Keith. All right, catch y'all later. Cue the outro.